This is Art Television.
Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
SLT Mobitel Home Broadband Online Learning Sa Working Data Demana. SLT Mobitel.
IWS Aviation.
A very good evening and a very warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Savindri Jayawardena. Let's look at the top stories for the day. Sugar factories make profits with decisions such as import bans, President stresses. Central Bank is in a thoughtful management of imports and foreign reserves, Central Bank Governor says. News in detail. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that Sri Lanka's ban on ethanol imports had given profits to state-run sugar factories which were making losses earlier. President Rajapaksa made this revelation in his address to the nation last Friday. Imported ethanol, which were taxed at high levels, brought revenues to the treasury. However, when import duties are raised or imports are banned, businesses running import substitution schemes collect the taxes, a process which economists call tax arbitrage. President, in his address to the nation, said that local sugar factories are making a profit today because the importation of ethanol has been completely banned. People still pay high prices, but the profits go to the businesses and the state loses revenue. In 2020, Sri Lanka saw a steep collapse in revenues amid import bans, deliberate tax cuts and coronavirus lockdowns. The government at present charged tax money for brown sugar at a higher rate than white sugar to give profits to sugar stores. President Rajapaksa said a ban on turmeric imports had also expanded a market for domestically made turmeric. Other key strategies include a ban on tea imports to stop blending in the country and re-export of pepper, he said. Private sector borrowing has risen by 331 billion rupees in the first 5 months of this year, with the cumulative figure crossing the 6.5 trillion rupee mark. Growth in May on a year-on-year basis was 10.5%, whilst in the first 5 months the increase amounts to 5.3% as per provincial data of the central bank. The month of March saw a whopping 112 billion rupees in borrowing, which some analysts viewed as an aberration, while others noted it was on the strength of improved sentiment on the belief that the country has managed the COVID-19 pandemic well. The corporates also had a highly successful 3 months ending 31st March 2021. However, sentiments changed with the onset of the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic from late April after the Sinhala Hindu New Year. The Aurudu cluster has been the worst, resulting in around 148,000 patients of the cumulative total of 243,787 cases as of Saturday. In its last monetary policy review in May, the central bank said, reflecting the gradual transmission of the monetary policy easing measures adopted thus far, market interest rates have displayed a broad-based decline to their historic low levels. The prevailing accommodative monetary policy stance and the high level of rupee liquidity maintained in the domestic market are aimed at supporting the economic recovery through the provision of affordable credit to productive sectors of the economy. Accordingly, credit extended to the private sector increased notably during the first quarter of 2021, with increased credit disbursements to all key sectors of the economy. Net borrowing by the government has risen by 476 billion rupees or 10.4% in the first 5 months of 2021, while that of public corporations rose by 110 billion rupees or 11%. Stay tuned for more news right after this break.
දැන් නිවසේ සිටම ආරක්ෂාකාරීව පහසුවෙන් SLT Mobitel Home බිල්පත් කළතුරු සිදු කරන්න ඔබට පුළුවන්. MyCity app එක හරහා SLT Mobitel වෙබ් අඩවියෙන් බිල්පතේ QR කේතියෙන් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් බැංකින් හා බැංකින් app මගින් ඔබේ ආරක්ෂාව වෙනුවෙන් වගකීම් ඉටු කරන SLT Mobitel එකම එක සබැදියාව.
මේ දවස්වල ඔබ ජීවිතේ නවතීවී කියා අනියත බියකින්ද ඈත ඉස්පිරිතාලයකට වඩා ගෙයි ස්තූප්පුව වටිනවා. හුස්ම පිඹින යන්ත්‍රයකට වඩා හුස්ම පරිස්සම් කරන මුඛාවරණයක් වටිනවා. ප්‍රතිකාරයට වඩා ප්‍රවේශම වටිනවා. නිතර දෑත් සෝදන්න. මුහුණ නිතර අතගන්න එපා. දුරින් ඇසුරු කරමු. නිවස අපේ ජීවිතයේ නවාතැන කරගනිමු. ජීවිතයේ සිහිනයට වාසනාවේ ආශිර්වාදය. NLB.
අන්ලිමිටඩ් නම් ඉතින් SLT Mobitel අන්ලිමිටඩ් ඉන්ටර්නෙට්. හැමෝටම ෆිට වෙන හෝම් සහ මොබයිල් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් පැකේජ් පෙළක්. හුරු වෙන්න අපේ අන්ලිමිටඩ් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් වලට. SLT Mobitel එකම එක සබැඳියාව.
Welcome back after the break. Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman says that cash inflows are poised to improve in the next few months and imports have not been unduly disrupted. In a statement to media, CBSL Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman also said that Sri Lanka is evaluating the national balance sheet and external macroeconomic conditions. The central bank governor in his statement said that the central bank, with the participation of all commercial banks, have engaged in judicious management of imports and foreign reserves. He said that as cash flows are poised to improve in the next few months, the central bank will be evaluating the national balance sheet and external macroeconomic conditions in deciding the future policy response. He also added that it must be noted that the government and the central bank has ensured that trade is not unduly disrupted and intermediate and capital goods imports are given priority in the process of imports. Professor Lakshman also stressed that the foreign exchange market conditions are temporary. He also added that regular meetings with key officials of the banking community are held by the central bank and that the banking community has mutually agreed to manage their outflows within inflows while giving priority to essential and urgent imports and discouraging orders of speculative nature. In its statement to media, CBSL Governor further added that the conditions of foreign currency liquidity observed in the domestic market at present are temporary and are driven by excessive speculative activity. Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman also requested the operators in the market to remain calm and not fuel undue speculation which is not in the national interest. He also said that concerns have been raised by various individuals and media about an assumed shortage of foreign currency liquidity in the domestic market, preventing banks from facilitating imports. Governor in his statement said that reports published or circulated by some media channels indicate seriously negative viewpoints which can be very harmful to the country. He also said that the purpose of his sudden statement is to explain the true position about this subject. Due to heavy foreign currency borrowings in the past several years, there was adverse speculation even by the time of the formation of the present government in 2019 and 2020 about Sri Lanka's ability to service its debt service obligations falling due in the near term. In spite of such speculation and amidst added pressures owing to the COVID-19 pandemic on particularly our tourism cash flows, the government of Sri Lanka reiterated its stance of ensuring that all its external debt service obligations would be met on time, thus maintaining Sri Lanka's unblemished record of servicing all its maturing obligations. CBSL governor in his statement included that Sri Lanka introduced measures to rationalize selected non-essential imports to enable the country to perform this formidable task amidst reduced foreign currency inflows. He also added that some of these restrictions have been gradually removed, although the central bank is of the view that there is further space to curtail non-essential and non-urgent imports given the continued challenges emanating from multiple waves of COVID-19. Professor Lakshman asserted that as a result of the measures taken by the government and the central bank in the past 1.5 years, the government has been able to substantially reduce its foreign debt to GDP ratio to about 40% and the face value of foreign debt from $34.1 billion at the end of 2019 to $32.2 billion by end March 2021, while successfully meeting its maturing debt service obligations. World Health Organization commended Sri Lanka's excellent healthcare system, producing impressive healthcare indicators, and the country standing as an example for the other countries in the region. This commendation was received last Friday when Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena received the newly appointed representative of the World Health Organization to Sri Lanka, Dr. Alaka Singh, in Colombo. Welcoming Dr. Singh to Sri Lanka, Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena recalled the close cooperation between Sri Lanka and the WHO, being the very first UN agency to be established in Colombo in 1952. Minister Gunawardena appreciated the WHO's assistance to Sri Lanka during the COVID-19 pandemic and requested continued support in securing COVID-19 vaccines to people of Sri Lanka. Minister Gunawardena also recalled that Sri Lanka was among the first countries that stood in strong solidarity with the WHO in its efforts towards addressing the COVID-19 challenges. While appreciating Sri Lanka's solidarity with the organization, newly appointed WHO representative Dr. Alaka Singh assured that the continued collaboration of the WHO in both addressing the COVID-19 pandemic as well as in ensuring the sustainable delivery of other health care services during this period. WHO representative also commended Sri Lanka's excellent healthcare system, producing impressive healthcare indicators, and the country standing as an example for other countries in the region. She also assured WHO's assistance in securing COVID-19 vaccines to Sri Lanka and also in the post-COVID-19 recovery phase. She further expressed hope that the availability of vaccines will increase significantly in the third quarter of this year. Minister Gunawardena said that Sri Lanka looks forward to collaborate with the WHO, among other things, to enhance the capacities of the healthcare system and research facilities in the Sri Lankan universities. Stay tuned for more news right after this break.
Unlimited නම් ඉතින් SLT Mobitel Unlimited Internet. හැමෝටම ෆිට වෙන හෝම් සහ මොබයිල් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් පැකේජ් පෙළක්. කුරු වෙන්න අපේ Unlimited Internet වලට. SLT Mobitel එකම එක සැබඳියාව.
දැන් නිවසේ සිටම ආරක්ෂාකාරීව පහසුවෙන් SLT Mobitel හෝම් බිල්පත් කරදර සිදු කරන්න ඔබට පුළුවන්. YCT app එක හරහා SLT Mobitel වෙබ් අඩවියෙන් බිල්පතේ QR කේතියෙන් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් බැංකින් හා බැංකින් නැත් මගින් ඔබේ ආරක්ෂාව වෙනුවෙන් වගකීම් ඉටු කරන SLT Mobitel එකම එක සැබඳියාව.
Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a mixed note today. The all-share price index gained 68.69 points to close at 7,877.84 and the S&P SL20 dropped 4.85 points to close at 3,037.78. The turnover was 1.56 billion rupees for the second consecutive day and over 50 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. And that's all news for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care and good night.